It's that time of the week. We are looking at your Dynasty football trades. If you want your trades to be considered, join our Discord with the link in the description. And then anytime you send a screenshot of the trades that you've made over on the Dynasty Trades text channel, it will be considered for this video series. Do us another favor as well. Drop a like, comment down below what sort of trades you've been making as of recently, and subscribe if you like the content. If you don't, it's all good. It's better. Yeah. All right. First trade. Actually, just quickly, there's a lot of huge names on today. I just want to quickly highlight them. Yeah. Names that we'll be talking about today. Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, Brandon Ayuk, Najee Harris, Damian Pierce, Javonte Williams, Trey Lance. That's one trade.
That's just one trade.
Also, Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey. We're going to be talking about Travis Etienne, Curtis Samuel, James Cook, Kyle Pitts, Pat Fryermuth, Damian Pierce again, Jonathan Taylor, Lenny.
Come on. Keep going.
We got a lot of big. I mean, well, that was pretty much it. But we got a lot of big names to talk about today. Let's look at this first trade from Albino Samoan. He says, "Hope you boys haven't made the video yet. This just went down in my league. Dude said he wanted to rebuild. He's in 9th place, but this seems like taking that to the extreme."
Right.
So Team 1 gets Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, Brandon Ayuk, Najee Harris, Damian Pierce. Team 2 gets Javonte Williams, Trey Lance, Brandon Ayuk, and a whole lot of mid. I just like, I normally we like have conversations. Hard word, right? Big word.
Big word.
But
today.
like, what the hell is this? I don't know if you see this any differently. You're sending away Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, Brandon Ayuk, Najee Harris, Damian Pierce. I love Javonte. I love Trey Lance. We didn't get a single first-round pick for 4 cornerstone dynasty players that we just sent away that, for the most part, are young. Nick Chubb is the only one that, if I'm rebuilding, I really don't want on my roster. We didn't get a single first-round pick for players who could probably combine for almost 10 first-round picks on their own.
Yeah.
That might be an over-exaggeration, but, like, do you know where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this is Team 1 by a mile, and I'm not looking to trade for Javonte or Trey Lance, period. And I know you said this guy was trying to rebuild because he was kind of in the bottom of the league, but I'm not for it. I'm not about it.
This isn't how you rebuild.
Yeah, give me the Team 1 sign every single day.
Yeah. I mean, you probably couldn't get 10 first-round picks. That's definitely an exaggeration. Lamar probably cost you 3, at least. Chubb, I would say, costs 1. Najee costs 1. That's 5. Pierce costs 1. So that's 6. Let's say 6, 7.
Okay.
But
pretty fair.
Look, on Javonte and Trey, I love both of these players. My stance has been since their injuries that I'm not trading for them, and I'm not trading them away on a low. I'm just holding. Right. So these aren't guys that, like, you're even sure are going to be able to contribute to you next year. We're not 100% sure what Javonte's surgery will look like, how his recovery will go. Yeah. Trey Lance never established himself before going down with the injury, so you can't really even compare him to Dak. By the way, Trey Lance looks a lot more intriguing with CMC there. Like, CMC can make your quarterback, he can give your quarterback 15 points just based off dump offs every week. Yeah. But you have to get first round picks. These second round picks, this is like, second round picks are valuable. I don't want to devalue them. But what do you do? You don't rebuild by giving up young elite assets and getting second round picks in return. I don't get it.
How many? Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6. So half of the 6th round, half of the 2nd round in 2023 is still not worth it.
No, it's not. I mean, you're going to hit on some of those players, and it's a really good 2nd round this year. But still, like, you need first round solidified talents to rebuild your roster, not a bunch of 2nd round picks, man. So Albino, I'm assuming it's Team 1, and I'm assuming that he absolutely killed it. I think everyone could probably agree with me. Yeah. I'm going to give Team 1 an A+. I'm going to give Team 2 an F. Like, this is the worst grade I've ever given.
First F we got, and I'm there with you. Once again, Team 1 did its
hopefully
thing.
Hopefully this is learning, like, for anyone out there who's like, all right, I'm trying to rebuild. Second round picks don't help you rebuild, guys. I mean, they do, but they shouldn't be the foundation of your rebuild as well.
Yeah, like, you're not going to get Lamar, Chubb, Ayuk, Pierce, Najee, and I mean, Pierce went in the 2nd round in some leagues, but still, you get what I'm saying.
Exactly. None of those players in there, except for maybe Pierce, probably Pierce, none of those players would have been even available in the 2nd round of dynasty drafts. Yeah. When they came out as rookies.
Agreed.
All right. So the second trade we're looking at, is from B Max Breakdown. Team 1 gets Justin Jefferson. Team 2 gets CMC and a 2023 first round pick. He says, context, pulled this off tonight, was finally able to land JJ. 12-team Superflex tight end premium, start 3 wide receivers, 2 flex. Running backs definitely thin now. I only have Etienne Pierce and traded for Javonte after he tore his ACL. But I now have a wide receiver core of JJ, Higgins, London, Sutton, and Ayuk. Additionally, I have Pickens and JMO. Jeez Louise. He says, would love to hear your thoughts on this in a video. We'll miss CMC, but had to get JJ. Said C-Mac to the 49ers hype is probably, you know, what made this trade happen. I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Justin Jefferson side. I love Christian McCaffrey, and yes, he does go to the San Francisco 49ers. He's 26 years old, and he probably is going to have another maybe 2-3 years, I would say, there with some life, unless he's really going to run him to the ground, which we all expect. But give me Justin Jefferson. I'd rather have Justin Jefferson right now. I love a 2023 first rounder, mid. I guess depending on where this is at, whether it's mid or late. If it's mid or late, I think you're losing significantly because this wide receiver class, in my opinion, in our opinion so far, from what we've seen, is pretty soft.
Yeah.
You know, it's not guys that like we believe you can get some.
It's
top
heavy. It's top heavy. Yeah. There's some guys I love, but it is not deep.
Yeah, it's not deep in the wide receiver class specifically.
Everywhere else we love.
Everywhere else we love. So I wonder where this first is at, because if this is a top 5 pick, I wonder if he can get a Jackson Smith. I wonder if he can get,
right.
Anyone in the top 5, top 6, because I think it could be interesting.
Quentin Johnston, maybe, if he keeps rising.
It could be interesting, but right now, give me Justin Jefferson, without a doubt for me.
So I think the better question is what would have made this a more even trade, because yes, Justin Jefferson is the answer here. Team 1 wins. I think one thing we hit super well on this offseason was don't invest high draft capital in running backs. I think almost in every scenario, if you did that instead of getting a wide receiver in your startups, then you've probably have not loved, this year with the injuries. Yeah. In saying that, we still prioritize wide receivers over running backs. I would rather have, let's say in a 3 wide receiver league, 2 flex, I would rather have 5 incredible wide receivers and then just 2 running backs that might be aging that I can trade for and kind of just make it work with the roster. So this is clearly the Justin Jefferson side. Let's talk about what would have made it potentially even. So what would you add to this trade? What I would say is this trade would need to have a mid and an early first in 2023, as well as CMC, to then be even. If I get a top 3, 3 to 4 pick, and then I also get a top 6 to 7 pick, as well as CMC, so let's add on another one of those firsts. That's when I feel like that it balances out a little bit more. I think he's right. Maybe when the CMC went to the Niners, it might have raised the hype. But, I mean, he's not getting any younger. And honestly, I worry more about injury in San Francisco than I do in Carolina.
Agreed. I completely agree. Another thing I thought of was maybe like a mid-tier wide receiver that right now that maybe a lot of people aren't wondering or aren't wanting potentially, or maybe even a rookie. Like maybe... But what's crazy is that he has all the good rookies because he has Pick and J-Mo.
Sure.
But the first person that came to mind was like a Devonta Smith. Maybe that's too much.
I was gonna say, what if you put a Drake London on the other side and just one first? So CMC, London, and 20 first.
I think that's pretty even.
Maybe but with London, you're kind of in the same spot where it's like, is Pitts and London gonna get a pass catcher or a good quarterback?
Yeah, I hear you. I think it's good, and he has once again all these young wide receivers: JJ, Higgins, London, Sutton, Ayuk. I mean that's a lot for him.
Yeah, I agree, and yeah, good. We're on the same page. Do we grade this one? I mean, Team 1 A+, Team 2 I would just say a B. It's kind of
I was thinking
you didn't take a huge L, but you're gonna have to hit on that first for the future of your team.
Agreed.
All right, the third trade we are looking at is from Dame. Shout out to Dame, aka Dame Dollar. Actually, his username is Dame with a period at the end. That's like a statement. It's not a name; it's a statement.
Dang.
My name's Dame. You got something to say? I'm like, damn, bro. Calm down. Don't take. Just let me go. All right, so Dame. Context, he says, just made this deal. I get the top side. Team 1 gets Patterson, Samuel, Etienne, Algier. Team 2 gets Ridley, Cook, and a 23 first. Where do you stand on this trade here, Badaki?
Yeah, this one's very interesting. Um, the Okay, so this is the way I see it.
Okay.
I personally think Patterson and Algier kind of just cancel each other out, right? So like when I say cancel each other out, like I'm not going to start Patterson in the future, because depending on how long he has, like let's say he has another year, that's cool. And Tyler Algier, you expect him to draft another running back, right? So
So you want not that they cancel each other out because they would need to be on opposite sides of the trade. You're
right,
saying you don't care about them.
yeah, I
They
don't
don't
care.
mean anything.
Exactly, they don't mean anything to me. So then you have Curtis Samuel, Travis Etienne, and the way I see it is like this: Curtis Samuel, Travis Etienne, and Cordell Patterson for Calvin Ridley, James Cook, and the 23 first. Because Tyler Algier really doesn't matter at all. Patterson could be a value next year still if they don't draft a running back, right? Atlanta doesn't draft a running back because once they do draft a running back, Patterson is either going somewhere else or is completely, he loses his value.
Well,
So
he could retire as well.
he could retire as well. And that's what I see in team one side. Team two, you guys how know how I feel about Calvin Ridley. I see him. I understand. I think it's really interesting of what can happen. He's 27 years old. By the time he comes back, he's going to be 28. Does he play with the Falcons or not? James Cook is a long-term player that I like, that I'd rather have over Patterson, over Tyler Algier at the moment. Not over Travis Etienne, and the 23 first cancels that. So the 23 first for Travis Etienne, and then Calvin Ridley for Curtis Samuel and Cordell Patterson, and James Cook for Tyler Algier, or vice versa, however you want to see it. So I'm going to take team two side just purely based on the longevity. Yeah, I know. It's
trying to connect the lines.
That's how my brain works. But yes, I am taking team two.
Okay.
Purely because I still believe in James Cook. Calvin Ridley, once again, I don't believe in him, but if he does come back, and when I say I don't believe in him, I mean like I think the hurdles that he has to go through to come back, I think it's too big in my mind. I'm not sure how he can really come back from that. But if he does, fantastic. And then maybe there's value when he does come. So, balls, give me team two.
Yeah, I look at this trade. Hey, if anyone's watching and you were with me, just on the ETN side through and through, even through the hard start with James Robinson, we have made it to the other side. The talent has won. So congratulations, anyone out there. I have him in a lot of leagues. It's hard for me to bet against Travis Etienne here. Someone I truly view as a top 5 dynasty running back. Compared him a little bit to DeAndre Swift before the year, as far as like his team is not in a great spot defensively. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities through the air, and he's just an incredibly explosive player. I think we should officially put some respect on Etienne's name. I mean, let's hope for God, please, no more running back injuries. But Etienne to me is like truly a foundational building running back. And I think with the Jags moving James Robinson, you can see the trust that they have in him as well. I'm going to take Travis Etienne here. I think he is the best player by far in this trade. But I will say on the other side, I've been saying it all offseason, Calvin Ridley is an extremely undervalued asset. Someone who has finished top 5 at his position, who has put up insane production, double-digit touchdowns, over 1,300 receiving yards in his career in a single season. So let's put some respect on Calvin Ridley's name. I think that's a great toss-in. That's where I'm hung up on this because I don't mind sending a 23 first for Travis. James Cook, never been a huge Cook guy, but like let's see what happens. But Ridley is where I feel like that's not a throw-in piece for me. That's where I'm struggling. And I agree in the sense that like Patterson and Algier, because there might be some people out there who own Algier and they're like, what do you mean? Algier scored a touchdown last week. Like he's looking like great, but like where was he drafted? Right? Yeah. And tell me historically someone in his position outside of maybe Aaron Jones who has gotten a long-term deal. I think he's a mid running back. I think Patterson's getting older, so I understand your concerns there. Curtis Samuel is right now ranked below Calvin Ridley, according to the community.
Oh, really?
Isn't that strange? Isn't that weird to you at all? I mean, like, Samuel's been pretty good, and
maybe he's not. Maybe
he's only 26 years old. He's younger than Ridley, and by the way, when his contract ends, he'll be 27.
So is he 27 next year?
He's 27 next year.
Right. Okay.
I don't understand how he's ranked below Calvin Ridley.
I think it makes. I mean, it makes sense in a I guess maybe in a talent perspective in a dynasty world.
Oh, I don't disagree talent wise. No, I'm not.
And I think maybe that's what the dynasty community and like the consensus is saying. Curtis, even when Calvin Ridley comes back, he will be a lot more valuable. Obviously, we all agree with that. with then Curtis Samuel. So
Yeah,
it's interesting.
sure. It is interesting. Give me the ETN side. It's really close. I don't think that the ETN side got a deal or anything because again, like you take Patterson and Algier out of this deal, which I think we both believe that they're going to be irrelevant in the next couple of years. Then it just doesn't really they don't really matter to this trade. So I think it's pretty even. I gave both teams a B plus, but I will take the ETN side.
Yeah, I like that. I gave team 1 a B, and then team 2 a B plus. But I'm taking team 2 side.
All right,
I'm not anti Travis Etienne, by the way. Just want to say that.
Yeah,
because I didn't hit on that. I didn't really touch on Travis Etienne, but continue.
Yeah, fair enough. ITBBI switch. I believe this is Jordan over on Patreon. Jordan's Dynasty. Shout out to you, brother. Thanks for the support. Says, what are the thoughts? I'm rebuilding and I would acquire Pitts here. Team 1 gets Kyle Pitts in 24th. Third. Team 2 gets Pat Fryermuth, a second and a first. Where do you stand here?
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is an interesting conversation for me right now. I have Kyle Pitts in, I think, one of our follower leagues, and I want to get rid of him. I'm not necessarily sure how I feel about Kyle Pitts moving forward because I believe in the talent. He's there, generational tight end talent. It just doesn't feel like they're ever going to prioritize him unless they get a new head coach or a quarterback, which I feel like neither is going to happen. I feel like the head coach is still going to stay, right? Because he's been drafting, he's been trying to build a young team up, and then the quarterback, they keep winning games. So what the hell is going to happen? Like I know it's early and he's still only 22 years old, but it's really frustrating. But at the same time, I do feel like we are selling him low in this point because I feel like before the season started, you can get 2 to 3 firsts for Kyle Pitts, and right now you're getting a 23 first and Pat the Dragon, which we love. We love Pat the Dragon, but just based off talent wise, I still need to go Kyle Pitts side, but I am 100% shopping him. I'm waiting for the 2 consistent games when he has crazy fantasy points and then selling him as high as possible, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a tight end that can get me points, and it just feels like Kyle Pitts right now, maybe this is recency bias, is not getting me points, and this is Dynasty, right? So we're playing the long haul. I just don't see the outcome where he gets a quarterback anytime soon, but I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. Genuinely.
Yeah. I think you hit on it. Like the recency bias is quite strong, and it's understandable, right? It is completely understandable. We're talking about what everyone probably believed to be the tight end 1 in Dynasty. I still have him as that, but we're not looking at that like this year, expecting him to win your league. Kyle Pitts is only 22 years old. And I know that I say that every time we talk about him. Pat Fryermuth is 23 years old. They're putting up similar type, numbers for their career so far. I wouldn't say that this is a buy low. I would feel more comfortable if we took out the third and the second, and it's just Pat and a first for Kyle Pitts. I would feel much more better about that offer. I don't need a third. Third doesn't do anything for me. I don't want to give you my second.
Yeah.
So let me take out the second, take out the third. I'll give you a first and Pat, and then I'll take the Kyle Pitts side.
Okay.
I still believe in Kyle Pitts long term. I understand the concern. Let me, like you talked about the recency bias. Through the first 5-6 weeks of the season, it's really kind of hard to completely get a gauge on a team's identity. I think now we're reaching the point with the Falcons where everyone knows, okay, you're not going to throw the ball because you don't trust Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
And I think we saw like this week was one of the first weeks that Atlanta got smacked in the face, and they're like, so what are you going to do if you can't run the ball, right? Tyler Algier averaged 3 yards per carry. As a team, versus the Bengals, as a whole, they ran the ball 29 times and averaged under 4 yards per carry, 3.7 yards per carry. So how long, like, I get that they were able to win those games and they beat some good teams, but at some point, teams have the scouting report on you and they know your identity. How long are you going to be able to do that? I think we're coming into a point here soon with the Falcons where it's like, dude, you have to do something different. Marcus Mariota cannot throw the ball 13 times when you're down by 20 points.
Yeah.
That's just not possible. And look, maybe I'm ignorant, but I don't care. I'm riding or dying with Kyle Pitts. I'll take the Kyle Pitts side, but I would prefer to take out the second and the third. I think a first and Pat is even, But again, I'm not thinking about only this season. I'm thinking long term. And we always have the hope that potentially we could see Desmond Ridder come in. That could change things.
That could
You
change
know,
things.
that could change things for us. But at the end of the day, I personally, like, you let me know if you see differently. I personally don't see a scenario in which this formula is successful long term, which I believe will lead to change. I don't think that you can run when your defense is that bad and you have these incredible weapons that you spent two top 8 picks on back-to-back years in the NFL draft. I don't think this is a formula that's going to work long term. You can't keep throwing the ball 13 times a game. And I think I'm on the opposite. I feel like they could fire Arthur Smith. I like he's been there long enough. There's been multiple failed seasons.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's tough because isn't
at
his
the end
dad
of
the
the
owner or
day-
something like that?
What?
Isn't his dad the owner or something like that?
No.
Something
No, they just have the same last name.
It's had the same last name. Okay, I must be stupid then. What Pat McAfee was talking about it? Pat McAfee was saying like something.
You don't think he was making a joke?
I could be wrong unless I just took that really seriously, but I could be wrong. Let me ask you a question. For the Kyle Pitts believers like you, right? If they don't,
Yeah.
Right now they have. If the season ended today, they have a top 10 pick, and if they don't get Bryce or CJ, I'm not necessarily sure I'm in love still. As much as we love, Hendon Hooker or I know you
Yeah, I
like
was
KJ
gonna say I don't need Bryce or CJ to
KJ
resurrect
Jefferson.
these
Like,
guys.
what if I see? This is what I'm scared about. I'm scared because I'm not necessarily sure if I still trust any of those guys at the moment, and maybe because it's still early, but maybe we gotta wait and see then if you do trust him.
Look, I cannot tell you if Arthur Smith's dad is the owner. I don't believe so.
I just remember Pat McAfee making a joke about it, and
I think it might have been a joke, but
he
I'm
must
not
have
sure.
got he must have gotten me saying like, nah, his dad's up there saying, "Come on, son." Like, I don't know. Anyways, I remember him saying.
So
something
I
about
get that there's a timeline here, right? I understand that there's a timeline and everything. I totally understand. Kyle Pitts is 22 years old. Again, when did Mark Andrews break out? Was he 25? Was he 26? So how long of a leash are you gonna pull Kyle Pitts on when, like, historically he shouldn't have even done what he did last year, but that was an offense that was competent, right? Like, through the air. So I
Right.
guess the question is, like, how much of a leash are you gonna give him? And I don't think you have to only look at the draft. I mean, who's the starting quarterback for them this year on a 1-year deal? It was a free agent, right? Look at next year's free agents. You got Jimmy G. He's going to be a free agent. Your own Daniel Jones. Are you going to bring him back? Not sure. Like, Geno Smith is a free agent. Taylor Heineke, Lamar Jackson's a free agent. We'll see if they get a long-term deal. It's not looking incredible. Cooper Rush is a free agent. So Gardner Minshew. Now, Gardner Minshew's probably not a starter, but you see where I'm going? Like,
No, I hear you,
Marcus
I hear you.
Mariota's not a starter either. So can it be through the draft? Maybe. But at the end of the day, like I said, could it be my ignorance? I don't know. But I'm riding or dying with Kyle Pitts. And I was in the same position, guys, at the beginning of the season with Travis Etienne. Everyone's telling me, well, it's James Robinson, man. He's him. James Robinson's the guy. Like, it's probably time to forget about Travis Etienne. Like, no, I believe in the talent. I believe that the talent will figure it out. And people who believe in the talent typically are rewarded long term. So
I hear you. It's gonna be interesting. I'm interested to see. Just know that. Well, I think but I guess I want the community to know that I am skeptical, and I feel like if they don't invest in a quarterback, coming into next year, I feel like specifically.
I think that's the other thing. Just quickly, sorry. Like, it doesn't have to be CJ or Bryce. It truly doesn't.
Yeah,
like, Desmond Ridder
for
can
sure.
can change everything.
Yeah,
for
and
them.
I believe
Same with
in Denver.
Hendon Hooker. Same with Tanner McGee. Guys like KJ Jefferson. So, it doesn't have to be those top two.
It doesn't. It
would be nice.
I guess we maybe it needs to be a head coach change. Maybe it needs to be an offensive coordinator change.
Probably.
Because maybe that's what's really holding him back, not the quarterback.
Or they need to keep losing. And, like, for example, if you do this game plan, bro, what happened last week versus the Bengals, if you're down multiple scores and you throw the ball 13, if you do that 4 games in a row, it's going to be bad. It's going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah,
like,
it is going to be tough.
People will be shouting. So, anyway,
from the rooftop.
let's see. All right, the last trade we're looking at is from Germ. Team 1, Jonathan Taylor. Team 2, Fournette, Pierce, and a first. He says, was bored. It's a 10-team super flex. Start 3 wide receivers and a flex. Where do you lean in this trade here?
You know, this one's tough.
I think it is. Is Lenny what's making it tough for you?
No, it's Dameon Pierce.
Okay.
Well, and once again, like maybe it could be another recency bias, but like Damien's been doing great. Do they continue to go with this running back? I feel like a lot of teams are going to go by running back by committee. So maybe having the lead guy, maybe the guy that is maybe even 2023, they do get a running back. Hopefully, it's not more. I feel like it's going to be more talented than Dameon Pierce. Maybe Dameon Pierce gets a 60% workload. You know, like. Because I think Lenny is going to walk away, and if not, you can still sell Lenny for some sort of value right now.
I just don't know if you can. That's where I'm struggling.
And I think the 23 first is very interesting. I think my tune is changing on Dameon. I know the whole time coming into this season, we were saying, if you can get a 23 first with Dameon Pierce right now, that's fantastic. And I still believe that's true. But at the same time, it's like, damn, but what if they don't draft a running back? Like, what if they don't get it? And Dameon Pierce is still the bell cow for next year, and they truly believe in him. And I know that's a risk, and I said this early in our live stream once, and I was like, that's a massive risk, and we have no idea what's going to happen. But if that does happen, Dameon Pierce might be locked in for a whole nother year, and maybe they do trust him in the way they drafted him, and maybe he is the long-term answer for this backfield. It's very, very slim chances there, but I'll take team 2 and take the risk, because even if not, you can still get a first with Dameon Pierce right now, and you have 2 23 firsts. And Lenny.
Sure. Here's what I'll say. This isn't an underpay. Like, you didn't get JT cheap, is what I'm trying to say. This is probably based off of what's happening right now, a slight overpay for JT. Slight. Yeah. Like, I think with him struggling, I'm all for buying him. I just think it needs to be a little bit cheaper.
Right.
My struggle is really Fournette. Like, with the Pierce, my stance is, go look at the free agent list of running backs next year, and tell me that with the way that the NFL is going towards a committee running back system, that the Texans aren't going to sign one or draft one. Yeah, there's 6 running backs I love in the next class. There's about 15 free agent running backs that are legitimately very, very good running backs. Like, this isn't Scrub City with this running back free agent class. Let me show you. Like, let me just name some names for you. Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, Jamal Williams, Josh Jacobs, Melvin Gordon. Say whatever you want about him, right? Raheem Mostert, Deonta Foreman. I'm going to keep naming names. Miles Sanders. We're looking at Jeff Wilson. Like, whatever you think about Jeff Wilson, he's a free agent. Darrell Henderson's a free agent. Same with Sony Michel. We're looking at David Montgomery, right. Devin Singletary, Damian Harris, Alexander Madison, Tony Pollard, James Robinson's a free agent. I mean, I almost said Tony Jones. So you look at this list, like, I can tell you 4 names that automatically come to mind that I think could really complement him. Tony Pollard, right? I think of names like Miles Sanders. I think of names like Jamal Williams. I think of names like Kareem Hunt. Anyway, the list is so vast. I find it really hard. Like, you're purely numbers, guys. Like, how many teams are going to sign multiple running backs here of these talent? Like, it's a cheap running back market, and the Texans are going to sign someone or they're going to draft someone.
Yeah.
It will not just be Dameon Pierce in that backfield. Now, will he be the priority? Probably. But like you said, like, do you want the 60% in Houston? Because right now you're getting like the 100 almost.
Right. By the way, 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's it for the video. Yeah, I think Lenny is where I struggle, by the way, because I just think he looks really bad. I don't want any Lenny. But this is a pretty even trade. It's close, but it's not an underpay for JT.
Yeah.
Comment down below. Let us know what you think about these trades, and we'll see you soon.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLand fam.